All right, everybody, welcome back to round 2 prep / setup for the exciting conclusion of this year's Jelly Jam competition. This time we've got 2 runners teams, Voodoo and Mini Lily versus Hobkiname and Hoppy the Fool, and we're going to see what I would say is still going to be a wonderful race between the 2 of them. We're going to get things kicked off pretty quickly here. So we can get our start off right at the turn of the hour. This time, again, the rules will be the same. You can keep track of everybody's scores by typing !score in the chat. Take a look at the point incentives by typing !rules. And if you'd like to follow along with the runners, try to understand what they're doing and why, and maybe get a better understanding of the cave itself. Our commentary crew will do their best to let you know what's going on, and you can always type !cave guide, just like Steroff did in chat, to get a nice and complete understanding of just how the game functions on its own. With that said, I'm going to give a 5-second countdown, and then we'll go ahead and get the show started. The runner-up round of Jelly Jam 2023. Go in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Good luck, have fun.
Good luck, have fun.
Hello, everyone.
What's up, everybody?
Welcome to the second race today. Let's point out the first thing first. Like, we have a 5-point leads on the board. It's mostly due to how our tracker tracks the goal. It's points that they could lose. So that's why they already have 5 points on one side and 0 points on the other side. But it should be really 5-5 at this point.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see this race because last week I saw so many assassins kill so many people that I want to see if it happens again. I'm a little sadistic today. So.
This race is for the 3rd place, so there's a bit less stakes in play, but hopefully let's try to have some jelly, at least one jelly today, right?
Yeah, I want to see everybody get to the jelly for sure. I don't actually want to see anybody wipe on ninjas, but also I apologize. My voice is kind of messed up. I'm getting over a cold, but I'll do my best to not sound sick.
So today we can see that they're bringing different parties. There's points incentive that are mostly that are targeting to have different characters in different parties, and they have individual goals. That's why we have Selen, we have Lexus, all of those cool characters that usually don't show up in speedruns. Well, our point system invites you to play them. Tell me, Meat, what is your favorite character and why?
My favorite character is probably just the best character is Tia. She's just the best. There's nothing really I got to say about that other than.
Yeah, most likely chat will be with you over there. Like we all want more Tia and speedruns. All right.
I'm still waiting on the leaderboards to get a party specific setting. Maybe one day we'll get that, and then you could see a little bit more variety. But one thing I want to point out here too is that if you look over on Mini Lily's screen, she's using the Halloween sprites. We have a bunch of custom sprites on the ROM patcher. I don't know if we have a link to that, but if anyone's interested in using some of the custom sprites, I think most, if not all of them, were made by Eve, who's a member of our community, and they're pretty fun sprites. So it's yeah, pretty good stuff. If you're interested, right there, Real Critical just linked rompatch.ancientcave.net, and there's a couple other patches there that are pretty fun to play with. So I highly recommend anybody that's interested check it out.
Pretty cool. I knew about the Xmas one and the summer one, but I didn't know we had Halloween one. That's pretty cool. Really nice sprites. All right. So let's check a bit the scoreboard here. Like, where did we get the 6 point? Oh, we had Tia use a whip. to kill some characters. Obviously, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. Okay. One thing I want to point out too is just in case anybody missed the last round or is maybe watching like a VOD later. Um, we'll do a little bit of explaining about what's going on here. So the Ancient Cave is like a roguelike dungeon within the main game, and I guess a new game plus kind of setting in Lufia 2. Uh, it's a pretty interesting run if you're not familiar with it. It's basically an RPG roguelike, but also in the overworld here, you can see monsters don't really move until you move, and they all have very specific movement patterns. So it's a pretty interesting run overall. Seeing how you can maneuver through a room while avoiding fights, trying to get down to floor 99 as fast as possible to kill the final boss of the Ancient Cave, which is the Master Jelly. And another interesting thing about that fight is that you have to kill it in 3 turns, also, which is very difficult. And hopefully, we'll be seeing everybody here getting the items they need and the luck they need to get to the end and kill the Master Jelly. So,
Thank you very much for this. Like, it's really well detailed and a good, good overall sight of what we will be seeing for the next 2 hours. So obviously, if we see some Decker Blade, Gady's Blade, obviously, like that's a shout out in the chat. Like, let's help us out here if we miss them. Those are big, interesting weapons that we need for the
yeah. It's kind of hard to keep up with 4 streams at once sometimes. We'll try to talk about stuff. So definitely, if you guys see anything cool, let us know. Definitely want to draw attention to it. Big things like Decker Blade, party rooms, blue chests, stuff like that.
One of the goal that we have is to have every character in both team have rocks. So that's why we're seeing a lot of eagles. They are good experience like bots for the early levels, and they can drop the eagle rock, which provide agility, and also like they can drop the rock for the goal.
Yeah, Eagle Rock, it's a pretty low drop chance, but even in regular speed runs, getting an Eagle Rock is pretty huge because agility is super important in this game. Um, as you get down towards the end, you really need to have someone go faster than some of the enemies in order to kill them because they do a lot of damage. So you need like Artie usually or Tia if you're not running Artie to be faster and kill something before it has a chance to kill you. So Eagle Rock is one of the earliest agility pickups you can get. It's not a high drop chance, but you kind of want to kill eagles anyway because they give good XP, especially in a marathon setting when you have a lot of time. So we're going to be seeing a lot of eagles, I assume.
On the first 9 floors, that's where we have the more interesting drops in items. Like, not only like in terms of raw power, but you have rings, you have helmets, you have shields. So far, I haven't seen anything very interesting in drops, but like the cave works in a very weird way where you only have those items spawn from floor 1 to 9.
Yeah, as far as I understand, it's either a bug or it wasn't ported properly or something in the final version of the game. There is a patch we have on the ROM patch we mentioned earlier to add the items back in that are supposed to be there. But in the vanilla game, you only get rocks, rings, helmets, shields, and stuff from chests 1 through 9, and some of them are really good. So definitely when you're in a 2-hour run like this, you want to open kind of everything on 1 to 9 because if you find like a trick ring or an elemental ring or something, it can really, really help you out. So,
And in the case of the scoring that we have today, you could find some rare rocks, like Ors rocks, B rocks. Like they sometimes spawn in there, but they only spawn until floor 9.
yeah, they're super rare. But yeah, definitely nice pickups to find. And again, we have the incentive, so hopefully we'll see some cool stuff before we move past the 9th floor. Another thing we're going to be wanting to look out for is after there's nothing really too dangerous on these first 9 floors. Mimics, which you can see Hoppy fighting here, are kind of dangerous, but usually they're not like run enders or anything that early. The first thing we're going to be looking for, though, is cores on floor 11. Yeah, if you want to explain kind of what cores do and what we're looking for there.
Cores are those like if you've played the recent games, you have some cats in Octopath Traveler that are rare occurrence, rare encounters where you have to kill them fast because they run away. But if you do so, like they drop a ton of experience, which will propel your party to like other levels if you like it. So we're going to find red cores, blue cores, green cores, and no cores at certain intervals in the cave. You really want to farm those because they are not actively trying to kill your party, and they give great experience.
Yeah, I think they're for those of you familiar with what's that game, Dragon Champion, I think, or something, the metal slime.
I think it was
They're
Champion Quest.
Dragon Hero,
Okay.
Dragon Man, Dragon something. But the metal slimes from that game, they kind of give you a boost of XP. That's basically what we're looking for. They only spawn on floors 11 to 13, the red cores, so definitely everybody's going to be checking every inch of those floors for red cores, because getting a massive XP boost from such short fights is very preferable to farming things slowly.
Yeah, and they actively not trying to kill your party. Like they won't cause any like wipes or anything. If they do cause a wipe, it's something that you should clip and send to the AC Discord. Obviously, we always laugh at those, but normally they wouldn't kill your party.
Yeah, they're rare. Oh, there's a fake ring right there for Mini Lily. It's pretty good ring, actually. I think it gives agility and the ability to cast fake, which I don't know. Fake is a very useless spell mostly, unless you have, I think, Tia, or in rare cases you need it to get Artie faster than something. But it's definitely a nice little agility boost, so that's pretty good. Oh, it doesn't give agility, actually. I am wrong. Squealer here correcting me. He is the old wise man of the cave.
If you don't have Squealer around, well, we have the AC Ref that has most of what Squealer knows, but in a web page. Like let us link it here so you can follow those things.
Yeah, as far as I know, the AC Ref was made by just cloning Squealer's brain. They just kind of like hooked him up to a machine and transferred all the neurons into a computer and put it on a web page. So that was pretty cool. Thanks, RC.
As we see, the score is quite tight. Like we still have a 6-7. Everything is going swimmingly so far, from what we see. Like no big incident. I didn't see a lot of healing spells. That's one of the things we really like to see in the cave, as obviously we start this journey with only 10 potions, so we need a way to sustain our pace until we get further down the cave and we open more chests. So yeah, stronger, rally, like those are all the kind of spells we need to find.
Yeah, healing spells are pretty important because potions are pretty limited. MP is also kind of limited, but you get a lot of bang for your buck out of the MP restores. So hopefully everybody gets healing so they don't get whittled down over time, because there are a lot of encounters you don't really want to enter in this later on with less than full health.
So far, I'm trying to take notes of who found what, and we have a curse lifter on Lily. That's one of the items that is really important for the jelly fight and for the scoring this time around. It's an item, like when you auto-equip and you have one of your items that becomes red, well, it means that you cannot remove it. You need one of the curse lifter to remove it.
Yeah, I also want to point out, I think it was Hoppy just now found a Thunder Ring. Thunder's the strongest spell besides Zap, but he doesn't have Artie, who uses Zap. Thunder's the strongest magic spell you can get, which is good for the jelly. And the Thunder Ring, the elemental rings double the damage, more or less, that the spells deal. So that is a very, very good pickup.
We can see on screen right now some red cores that we were discussing about a bit before. We had 8 at some point on the screen, and all 7 of them ran. But they, I think it was Abke that got one, and his party is now level 10. Like instantly, like this, they give a lot of experience.
Yeah, it's a super nice pickup. Going back to what you were saying though about the cursed weapons, we're hoping that people. There's a point incentive to only have deadlies on one person on your team, I think. But what deadlies are is it's a weapon that has a chance to instant kill an enemy you hit as long as they aren't undead. It's a they say it's 80% chance, but it's actually 50% chance because it either kills or it doesn't. But it's basically the best tool for clearing out high HP monsters and monsters that you don't want to fight for more than a turn or two. So we're going to be looking for those where we can. And another good thing about a couple of the deadlies is they have good IP abilities that are used on the jelly. They do percent HP damage, which, like I said earlier, you have to kill the jelly in 3 turns. So you want to front load your damage with the percent HP from things like Deadly Sword, Deadly Rod, Decker Blade.
Speaking of which, we found a Sizzle Sword on Voodoo. That's an item that Maxim can use. Obviously, to make it worth our while for the jelly fight, we will need to get another rock for it. Be it the Cancer Rock or the Hydra Rock. Both are found fighting monsters later down the cave.
Yeah, it's also a good ability just for killing monsters on the way too, because fire damage is a very, very good element to have. A lot of monsters, especially early on, are weak to it, and the Sizzle Sword does a lot of it. So,
moving away a bit from that topic, on OP screen we can see a party room, which is the way of the cave generating small rooms with a lot of monsters and chests. But this time around, OP is very lucky because there's cores in this pool, which means that we have 3 core stacked that are really one next to another, kind of free. So good for OP here.
yeah, I assume it's intentional, but the way party rooms work is it basically takes most of the monsters and chests from the rest of the floor and puts them into one room. So you normally don't want to see those, because if you have to go through a ton of monsters to get to the stairs, or you spawn in a room with a bunch of monsters, it's bad. But when it's on core floors, it's a good thing to see.
I'm pretty sure Voodoo is still before floor 15, and they found a Deadly Sword, which means that it's the good one, the one that has a 80% chance of one-shotting monster. Because obviously in our version of the game, we have 2 kind of Deadly Sword, the good one and the bad one. The bad one is the one that doesn't do any insta-kill. And a Deadly Rod.
And a Deadly Rod, nice. Yeah, I think it's a mistranslation. If I'm not mistaken, both Deadly Swords are actually named different things on the Japanese version of the game. But they just named them both Deadly Sword in the English translation. But yeah, the bad one spawns after floor 20 or 20 and on or something, and it's absolutely useless, and it's also cursed. So if you put it on, it's bad. But luckily, you can tell the difference if you look at the item description. One of them will say a deadly sword, and the other one will say something like an ominous something.
Yes, exactly. Like, funny story here, I played Lufia 2 for a long, long time, but I learned how to inspect items because of that specific thing. When I started to run the cave, for speedruns, I learned that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, exactly. I didn't know about it. And yeah, funny thing. Like, you can inspect your items, which is great.
Yeah, it's definitely useful when you need to find out which deadly you have. I don't think it's useful for any other items really, unless you're running some kind of randomizer to see what IP stuff has. But
when we do those kind of tournaments where we have special rule set, it's sometimes interesting to be like, hey, this one attack solve with this IP. Oh, it's thunder attack IP. Like, for those specific cases, it's really interesting. But otherwise, like, yeah, you're right. Like, we don't need it as much.
We got a curse lifter over there on Hobbs' side. We were mentioning how some of those items were cursed. Curse lifter is a pretty rare item that you can get out of a chest, and it is very useful because the Deadly Rod and the Deadly Sword, they have the good IP ability for the jelly, but you can't actually get access to that until you uncurse it. So finding that is a good sign. So hopefully we get a deadly sword or a deadly rod for someone to fight the jelly with later.
I did see a bow attack on Abkaname. I think RT has a launcher. I'm not sure. Like I'm pretty sure that's the bow animation I saw there.
Yeah, something. It's probably a launcher. I think. Yeah. So another thing is, sorry. Another thing to mention is, right there he had already attacked from the back row. If he had already attacked from the front row, maybe he could have actually gotten the kill on all of them, because I think we have an incentive to kill 4 monsters at the same time, or maybe that's
the one for Lexus. Yeah, he
oh,
has.
that's a Lexus one. Okay.
For the RT one, we just need to win a fight with the bow equipped.
Oh, okay. Oh, then there you go.
Exactly. That's one of the special things that we have for this year's tournament. We have goals for the party, for the team, but more specifically for characters, which is really interesting. We're trying to highlight all of the unique features of our characters, be it that they can cast spell, they are more tanky, they can use hold items. Please check the rules. Like you might learn something new about the characters by following them.
Another thing I wanted to mention too that I was kind of talking about with the bow, but if you notice, the characters are in different rows. There's 2 people in the front, 2 people in the back. One of the things that I didn't even learn until way later when I started speedrunning, but characters in the front row deal and take more damage, and characters in the back row deal and take less damage. So that also applies to enemies. If you look over on Mini Lily's screen right now, you can see some of the mushrooms are a little closer, and some are in the back. It's a useful thing to know how much damage you can deal from the front row in order to maybe kill something, or maybe put Decker or something in the back row if you're trying to run from something that can wipe your whole party, because taking less damage with Decker is basically the best strat to surviving things like Archfiends later and stuff.
Yes,
And
that's one. That's one of the things that we see newer players like having more issues with. It's just like putting the tanky character at the back, running away, learning all of those rows. Like it's one of the core elements that we need for speedrunning, but you don't learn that when you play the camping.
Yeah, I love the main game a lot, but one thing I will say is that the main game is very, very easy, so you don't really need to learn a lot of the tech about how combat works and movement and stuff like that. But if you want to, get to the bottom of the ancient cave without leaving your SNES on for 2 weeks straight and killing every enemy, you probably need to learn those things. And luckily we have the beautiful Squealer Brain RC guide for anybody interested in that. Another thing I want to do real quick too is shout out the AC Discord. If it hasn't already been posted, someone could type !AC Discord. It's a great community if you're interested in the game or interested in Lufia in general. As far as I know, it's probably the biggest Lufia community, at least outside of Japan. A lot of people there, very fond memories of the game, so go ahead and check it out if you're interested.
And it's very welcoming. I didn't know about anything about it. I think it was Jelly Fatal Blowout 2019, and after that I started to run, and I just went there and I learned everything that I needed to learn to start running. Really welcoming. So I think we see a lead on the orange team, mostly due to the fact that they are really targeting the individual points. Like we had the bow from RT, we had two incentive on Tia. So I think that's where we're getting our point difference at this time. I'm checking score. Yes, like the blue team has less of those goals achieved already.
Yeah, there's tons of points to pick up though, so that gap definitely will change over the course of the race. We still have an hour and 40 minutes left. Another thing I want to mention too is that normally in any percent speed run, it is very difficult to get to the jelly if you are trying to aim for, maybe a sub 130 or sub hour time. But with 2 hours, it's just about enough time to kind of open all the chests you need to open, kill all the monsters you need to kill for XP or drops, and barring a couple of the roadblock enemies like maybe blue mimics or archfiends, it's definitely a safer kind of run that we're going to be looking at. So
We can see on Voodoo's side that we are equipping a Berserk blade on Guy. That's one of the worst thing you could do in a regular speedrun, but here in this specific case, you earn 3 points by doing so.
yeah, the Berserk blade is it's kind of tricky. It actually has a pretty high amount of ATP for how early you can find it. And one of the ways that you can equip quickly in this game is you can equip items based on their strongest, on whatever has the strongest stats, and it'll auto-equip it. And since the Berserk blade is cursed, if you don't get rid of it or don't feed it, or you don't manually equip items, it's very easy to put on the Berserk blade on accident if you forget you have it. And it can basically just kill a run, because that means you have to find at least one curse lifter just to make that character do something at the jelly. So,
But in this specific case, it's worth 3 points, so we take.
oh
those.
yeah, we take those here. It's worth it here.
We did see that the sprites of the floors change. Like we're in the dungeon part of the cave, but for the next 20 levels, we're graced with this song before we go into the cave parts.
Yeah, one thing I will say is that I really wish that they added more tile sets to the later parts of the cave, because the first 20 floors are like the tower tile set, the next 20 are the dungeon, and then from 41 to 98 it's just all cave tile set, which is, there's so many cool tile sets and songs in this game that it would have been kind of cool if they put a little more in there near the end. But
We just saw Voodoo getting the Providence, the item that allows you to exit the cave. Obviously, he's using it because he had to equip Guy with the Berserk Blade, and it means that he keeps all of his blue chest items, and he gets to start again. He just has a 20-minute gap here that he kind of lost.
yeah, Providence is a very useful item, especially if you have the time to spare like this. It lets you leave the cave with any blue chest items you have. And he did have a sizzle sword, which is, like we were saying earlier, really good. So while he is losing some of that time, it is a free way to get the Berserk blade off, like you said. And then now he should have a little bit of an easier time also getting deeper into the cave, because he has that blue chest weapon, which is pretty nice.
We did see a air jewel. I was in chat during the previous run, and I was mentioning how everyone was getting good blue items, blue chest items. That one is a bad one. Blue chests are the ones that you want to find when you're playing the campaign, because you can get them out of the cave whenever you use the Providence, or you use the Providence, obviously. Those items are really, really good. Usually, the best in the game, in the campaign. So it's no difference here. When you see those, you hope for good weapon, good armor. Those really will shape a bit the next couple of floors you're going to use them on.
Yeah, unfortunately, like you said, though, the Earth Jewel is not one of those items you're hoping to get. Most of the items are pretty powerful, but there are a couple of the jewels and a couple of the rings that aren't as nice to find.
Yeah, they're the Earth Jewel is pretty abysmal, but it also allows our players to equip a rock, and we have a goal incentive to have 8 of them equipped between all of the members of both teams. Both teams. So that's at least that, but pretty garbage.
Yeah.
Another thing to note, we did have Destroy on Apkename's side. It's I didn't see any deadlies on their side, at least Destroy is a 50% chance of insta-killing enemies. The only thing is RT cannot cast it, so you have to rely on Maxim, Salon, or Tia, and in this case, well,
Yeah,
Maxim.
well, we have a category called reject percent, which is basically you take the characters that you don't normally take in any percent. And it's a really tough category, but I will say one of the fun things about running that is if you find destroy, every single person in the party can cast it. So it feels kind of nice. One of the few consolations of running that party.
Yep. We do see some pugs on Millie Lily's screen. When you're doing any percents, you don't want to see those monsters. But in this specific case, we have a goal to have your capsule monster promoted to M form, and they can drop one of the fruits. I think it's the flame fruit, but I might be mistaken there.
I believe it is as well. They're pretty easy to kill too if you know how to maneuver them like into a door, and then you have something like she had where she used Ice Valk, which is very, very powerful. They're weak to it and just wipes them all out in one hit. They're not usually deadly unless you kind of make a movement mistake and they run into you. But yeah, definitely you're trying to avoid those in a normal run. But here, we want to feed the capsule monsters. So I guess we should maybe talk a little bit about how capsule monsters work if you want to go ahead and take that away.
I can start with the capsule, but I cannot do anything about feeding. Like if you've seen my previous runs in other tournaments, I cannot feed for myself. So the capsule monsters, when we do the retry mode, the one that we use for the Ancient Cave speedruns, you have access to all of them. You have Gerald, you have Blaze, all of the ones that you see in the campaign. Those little guys, they act when their initiative comes, but you do not control what they do. So they're kind of pets, if you'd like. And we have to feed them items so they become stronger. And that's where it gets iffy for me. I kind of know they want better items depending on their tier and yada yada. And they have 5 forms. And we reward the ability to get one of them to the 5th form.
Yeah, a lot of them aren't all that useful in cave runs, especially on the jelly, but a couple of them are. And learning how to feed quickly is something that takes kind of a lot of practice if you're not completely familiar with it already. So the way it basically works is you want to feed stuff of a certain tier, and that'll increase their hunger until they evolve, and then you want to do that again a couple times. And I'm not the best at it either. There are some people that are definitely pros at it, and there is, I think, a guide. Yeah, El Chico Rafa has a cool feeding guide, Squealer says. That's definitely worth checking out if you want to learn how to feed, because I think feeding works differently in the Japanese version of the game, and it kind of broke when it got ported over to English, and it's kind of a mess. So it's not intuitive at all.
The main thing comes from the fact that they lie to you. They say that they want an item, and then you're like, oh no, I don't want this. So if you ever tried to decide on a restaurant with your significant other, like, yeah, that's kind of it. Like, oh yeah, I don't want this, but I want this kind of vibe.
Yeah, they'll say something like, oh, I want a rapier, or I want this. Then you feed it to them, and then they're just like, yuck, why would you ever give me that?
Exactly.
Yeah, so it's a little, like I said, it's a little bit of a mess, but it is important, especially in something like a marathon where you're basically, you usually get a lot of points for killing the jelly in these types of tournaments, and Darby specifically is a very, very reliable capsule monster to deal a lot of damage really quickly in those 3 turns. So being able to feed that up quickly is good. Although I will say also, when you're in 2 hours, you have the luxury of picking up every item basically in the cave, which makes it a bit easier to feed because you can kind of just trial and error it.
And they also have all of their little personality. You have Sully that defends more, that tends to have a slower agility, so it doesn't get into the way of speedrunning. You have the fish that has a tendency of not doing the one skill that you need, but if he does, like, your chances of killing the jelly like skyrockets. So yeah, all kind of having their own little personality, and we all have our favorites there. I do want to point out, however, that we found a fry sword on Voodoo's screen. Like that's one of the best blue chest item you can have for the run, as it's only elemental, and it means that it's really good at killing the late game monsters that could be immune to instant death.
Yeah, Fry Sword is great. It also gives a massive boost to all the stats of the wielder too. So it's basically like the best weapon you can get out of a blue chest. Sky Sword, I think, has more attack power, but it's not quite as useful because thunder is not quite as useful of an element as holy damage is. So,
and we also saw a C-ring. So I think they mentioned it a bit during the first run, but it does mess with the elemental property. So usually try to avoid using them on characters that mostly use attack. Like if you have a character that uses deadly, it's fine, and it actually increases speed. But that's one of the quirky items that we have in the cave.
Yeah, as far as I know, it has a special element, the like sea element, which isn't quite water. So I think it's mostly unused in the game. I don't know if they had plans for maybe more kinds of elements. But yeah, the agility on the sea ring is very, very nice because, like we said earlier, you can't find rings past floor 1 through 9 unless you find them in a blue chest, which the sea ring is one of those. And agility is basically king when it comes to stats you're looking for on items.
I mean, we were talking a lot, and I kind of missed what happened to Hapke. Like, did they use the Providence? Because I'm pretty sure they were on the dungeon files, and now they're level 1.
Yeah, I missed that too. I'm sure someone in chat saw what happened though, right?
One of the things that we do see, however, that they chose to not fight eagles because they're kind of in a hurry to come back into the fray. It does mean that you're level 1 and level 2, which means you're very vulnerable to those red mimics that tend to chase you around. Yeah.
Yeah, but he had some good movement right there around the bush, which I'd like to point out. So, knowing the movement of monsters, again, like we said, is very important for avoiding kind of pointless fights. And he kind of just made it go around the bush and got out of the room for free, which was nice. Also, though, even though providencing out because, you know, either you're going to die or you're not sure if you want to go back for points or something, 32 minutes in, we still have about an hour and a half left. It's plenty of time to get back down to the jelly and with relatively safe levels and stuff like that. So, as I say that, Decker lives with 3 HP and he almost wipes on Goblin. Luckily, Decker is so tanky. Oh, this is going to be tricky, actually, Hob, right here, because he doesn't want to activate that other Mimic. Oh. I think he's in the clear, though.
Yeah, should be. Unless it...
Yeah, that was nice. Very, very good movement right there.
On the bottom right screen, we have Oppie fighting some weird monsters that we usually don't see. But if you know your elemental game, like, they will die very, very quickly. Like, learning your elemental weakness against green Gorum, obviously, and sand Gorums is something that isn't super important any percent, but whenever you're trying to go for marathon pace, you need to know this.
Yeah, and like you said, they're called Gorums, which one of the fun things about this game is I don't know if they were lazy or whoever was doing the translation just had never heard of some of these fantasy creatures before, but there are a lot of mistranslations of the names. They named golems as Gorums, and there's a lot of other fun ones like Hedora instead of Hydra. assassin instead of assassin, and my favorite is Lufia instead of Rafflesia. It's
I'm pretty sure assassins though is the first way of pronouncing it. It's just like how the original like word was assassin, and we did turn it into assassin. Well, it's another story, but I'm pretty sure that they just went for the previous naming.
Oh, maybe, yeah. I know that's how it's spelled in the Japanese version. So it's possible that I think they just kind of directly translated it from Japanese instead of.
Yeah, but the other one's like Waybands instead of Wyverns. It's
Yeah.
completely out there.
Yeah, there's a lot of good ones.
Another cool item that we did see on Apkinami's side a bit earlier, and I think a couple minutes ago on Lily's, is the Black Eye. It's something that you never want in real life, but in the cave it's really good. It's a rock that gives agility. Really, really good.
Yeah, Black Eye is, I think it has the second highest agility of any of the rocks, next to Twist Jewel, which is something I guarantee if people can kill the Brinz lizards, they are going to be killing all of the Brinz lizards they see coming up in the later floors in the 40s. And as someone pointed out in chat, there are bug fix patches. Most notably, I think the Fru patch, as far as I know, fixes most of the translations and a lot of the other bugs in the game.
We do see some blue cores on Lily's side. Around 32 to 34, we are going to have those, and it's really important. Well, it's debatable if it's important or not, but I feel like in a marathon base you need to have at least one of them before going to assassins. I heard that last week it didn't go well, so.
Oh no, it did not. So the assassins are coming up soon, and they have an ability called Terminal Blow, which they don't usually use very often, but it has a chance to instant kill, and they were just using it constantly on everyone basically the entire time, and it was not a good time.
On Lily's side, as a good point, we have Rally as the only healing spell. It costs a lot to heal, but it does revive at the same time. So on Lily's side, we should be all right for assassins.
Yeah, Rally is definitely a great spell. One thing I mentioned last week also was I said, oh, assassins are coming up. They're not usually a roadblock or anything. So, ninjas are the real roadblock coming up, and then assassins were a huge roadblock. So I'm definitely interested to see. They spawn on floors 37 to 39, and they run at you really fast. So if you get unlucky in a room and can't really make it to the stairs quickly or something, you're going to basically have to fight them. So we're going to be watching those floors pretty carefully to see if assassins have calmed down since last week or not.
It's one of the funny things that you have to do in a speedrun is you actually have to slow down, hit the walls in the door to make sure that no one's like skyrocketing toward you during those floors. You really want to step down a bit just to make sure that you don't get side attacked.
Well, people say that. I like just running and seeing what happens, YOLO. Sometimes there's an interesting interaction that can happen where you can kind of frame perfectly get down the stairs before, even though they're on the tile next to you, if they have to cover a lot of ground. So I kind of just try to pull that off every time. It doesn't work very often, but when it does, it feels really nice.
Like, once again, pointing out the AC Discord, like those kinds of weird interactions, it's something that really lights up the community. We have a channel over there that discuss all of those specific interactions that are, like super crazy, moving before they move, the opponent move. Those kinds of things we have a dedicated channel for this on the AC Discord.
Yeah, and there's still stuff being found. Just recently, Trav posted a clip of him opening a door frame perfectly and then kind of running around with a genie touching him the whole time, but it doesn't fight him at all. It's pretty interesting stuff. So yeah, there's also stuff being found all the time still that not all of it is useful in every run, but it is good to know the niche stuff when you need to.
if we're going more into specifics into what is happening here, it does seem that we find all of the deadly items, but we do not find anything that is specific to killing the jelly. We do not have 3 times attack for Maxim. We're not getting any Decker Blades. I didn't see any Cancer Rock either. So it's really a slow progression into the kills more than having a he's on going down the cave. Because we have deadlies, we have some healing going all over the place, but nothing to kill the jelly.
Well, there's still a chance here for Lily to get Cancer Rocks, I think, for another floor or two after this as well. These monsters right here are not very scary at all. They can kind of do a lot of damage if you're extremely underleveled or something, but they're a nice little pickup before Assassins because they give a decent amount of XP and they can drop the Cancer Rock, which is its ability is it lets you attack twice in one turn, which is something that can be useful on the jelly because only 3 turns to defeat the jelly. You kind of need as much damage as you can get, and attacking twice with like a high ATP weapon is super useful. So definitely everybody's going to be trying to farm Cancer Rocks if they can.
Habke running away with their life there. Yeah.
Ooh. Unfortunate death there. Deadly armors are a little strong if you're underleveled, and sometimes they get stuck in doorways, so unfortunate death there, but still plenty of time to be able to get back in.
Yes. And their team are still ahead, right? Like 16 to 11 at this time.
Yeah, definitely.
And we do see a glass ring pickup. That's one of the other bad ring that you don't necessarily need or want to see. But there it is. Before that, I wanted to go back to the Garboast. It's one of the enemies that are weak to fire, and like you mentioned earlier, Sizzle Sword is really good at killing those really quickly. And the more you can kill, the quicker you can do it. Like, it means that you have more chances of dropping the rocks, and knowing what does fire damage at that point is really good. It's something that you need to learn when you speedrun this.
Yeah, Sizzle Swords especially holds a special place in my heart too, because it was the first blue chest item I found as a kid, and it has such a cool name, and it did so much damage that it was like the coolest thing I'd ever seen in like an RPG at that time. So I definitely still like seeing it to this day.
Yeah, the fact that Maxim can use it is also cool because you always have Maxim, right? So it's always fun to see.
Yeah, it's a very, very good one.
We did see an interesting move on Lily's side. By interesting, I mean a good one. They saw that the assassins were looking down outside of the door frame, so they just went for it for an easy back attack. Something that you learn when you run, but it's you don't have to be scared of assassins all the time. Like, running in and going in for the kill, like, rewarded her at this time.
Oh yeah, speaking of back attacks too, I don't know if we've addressed this yet, but the way that the monsters face, if you attack them from behind, you basically get like a first strike on any sprite that kind of has a facing direction. Some of them you can't, but then there's also a 50-50. If you attack a monster from the side, there's a 50% chance that you get a first strike or you just get a regular battle. And knowing movements and stuff of different monsters, Decker Blade right there for Hop. But yeah, knowing the movements of monsters and being able to kind of manipulate into 50-50s or back attacks is very, very useful for fighting monsters later on that are basically run enders if you don't. So we'll definitely be watching that. Decker Blade, by the way, if you want to explain why that's the greatest pickup of all time.
Well, it's an item that only the Decker can equip. The IP attack on it, Fatal Blow, has its own tournament that usually comes up later during the year. But more importantly, during the fight against the jelly, it will do a lot of damage. It's a fractional of half of it. So if you're starting your jelly fight with this item, you have a lot more chances of actually winning it.
Yeah, you have to deal basically 10,000 damage in 3 turns to the jelly. It's 9,980 damage, and the Decker Blade can just do half or more in one single action in 1 turn. So that is a good thing to find. One thing I will mention though is I just realized Hoppy does not have Decker in the party, and Decker is the only person that can use the Decker blade, so that's kind of unfortunate.
Oh, that's a great point. Like Decker, like when you don't need it, you always find it, and when you need one, like you never find it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, in the speed run when you're, trying to PB or go as fast as possible, you're looking for Decker Blade every time. And it's not super rare, but it is a single item in a large pool of items that you're trying to find at a quick amount of time, and it doesn't come up every time, so
It does start to show up after floor 15, so it gets added to the pool. This thing, the pool of item, like we mentioned a bit earlier, we have the rings that are until 9, and then after the floor 9, like we don't remove anything from the pool, but after that, each couple floors we add more items to them. So if you see a runner like not opening chests, maybe they are on floor 14 and they don't want to open useless chests that can't be the Decker Blade. Really, like you have to pace yourself as you speedrun. Like, okay, I'll start to open after 60 because I can find a mid blade on top of everything else. So there's really some subtlety here.
yeah, it's nice to know what items you can get because like you said, Myth Blade spawns only after 60. Old Sword and Lizard Blow, which are two other great jelly items, they only spawn after 50. So one strat that people use when they're speedrunning is they just kind of skip most chests until they get near the end, which makes you kind of frantically looking for everything, but at the same time you save a lot of time and have access to all the items.
Some not sure if it's okay, no, never mind. I was a bit wondering what was going on Lily's side, but it was using a holy item to kill an enemy. I think we have a score for this. Oh, it's after floor 60, sadly.
Yeah, I think she manipulated a back attack by having them teleport next to her, and I don't know if she's farming for an item. I don't know if they actually drop items, but if they do, then that's probably why. If not, it was probably just for XP.
Item drop. Let's check that out on the AC ref. There's a lot of things there.
Here we have more assassins. They seem to be playing nice. Oh, over there though, on Hoppy's side, we have a blue mimic next to the stairs, and he's in kind of a dangerous hallway. Blue mimics are way more powerful than basically anything else around this area. They're basically a gear check. I think they were put there so when you casually play the game, you kind of Providence out with some blue chests and gear your party up before you go too deep into the cave. But in the speedrun, we don't do that. And you almost never kill them because they will wipe your whole party almost every time, unless you run from them. And they don't move also, which means that since they are next to the stairs over there, he is going to have to fight them, or at least encounter them and run to get down the stairs.
It's like someone was, I don't know if dyslexic is the word I want to use here, but like instead of being hey floor 39, well let's do 29 instead. Like they're really way before when they should be.
Even 39, I feel like they're probably too strong to be there, but yeah, there aren't too many run enders early on, but the first big roadblock is these blue mimics. Really, they are tough, and they spawn on floor 29 to 31. So ideally, you just don't see them at all.
Usually, well, from my point of view, like they're there to remove the Dicker blades that you luckily found on floor 16. Right?
Yeah, probably.
That's their job. Like when the cave is being a bit too generous, they come up and reap everything. We did see the score here, like the gap being a bit close. We have a 16 to 18 scoreline. I think the fact that we have Abke that has to come back. Never mind.
Ooh.
Let's look at that Blue Mimic fight instead.
Oh, the double frenzy. That's what we were just talking about, how horrible blue mimics are. they have that frenzy move that hits everybody, and they have a lot of attack power with that move. And as you can see there, it just takes 2 frenzies in a group of 4 basically to wipe you, and that is not
Especially when
what we like to see. Yeah, it's unfortunate. Nothing he could have done though, really. Maybe put Guy in the back row, but still, even then.
especially like without Decker, like your tankest character is only Guy, even less chances of surviving. And what we see currently, like the run is not over. It's one of the zombie glitch that we could call. When you die on the stairs, you restart the cave on the floor after. So back to level 1 with only 10 potions. So,
Yeah, the stair glitch is actually pretty fun. I don't know if I've ever seen. I mean, I'm sure someone's completed a speed run of it, but it's yeah, it's like entering the cave again, but the stairs trigger before the warp out triggers, so you just kind of continue on as a little baby party again, super deep in the cave. So it's not over. He could, you know, totally come back. He's going to be looking for cores here, especially. Those are going to be basically his way back into this, because they spawn on the floors that he is on right now.
and they're very susceptible to magic attack, so any magic attack will kill them. So even if you're level 1, all you need is to survive that round of attack that they would send you. Like usually they target only 1 member, so you will lose 1 member, but you can wipe them out with a well-placed spell.
Yeah. Does he have already? He just found Fry, which would be nice to use on them.
I think so. So while the orange team is a bit ahead in score, both of their runners are kind of in a tougher place compared to the blue team. While Voodoo used the Providence to go outside and come back, he's a bit behind, but Mini Lily is just like going in for green cores now. So we're about to enter the ninja floors.
Yeah, the green cores are probably the most important cores to try and get, because they come literally the floors right before ninjas. 41 to 40. Ooh, she could have made it to the stairs there, and I think kind of got greedy for that chest. Yeah, it looks like she probably has the levels though to be okay. These monsters are like the assassins, but they are much deadlier. They have a move called Knife Thrower, which is an attack all that does a lot of damage, and basically you are trying to just not fight these at all if you can help it. I'm not sure if she's gonna fight them or run for the stairs right here. Ooh.
Oh, nice.
Ooh, and the frame perfect. Nice. That was beautiful.
That's exactly what you were mentioning a bit earlier, right? Running for the stairs before they...
Yeah, just running for it and saying, you know, YOLO. You know, I could sit there and try and fight you, but oh, there's a knife thrower. She's fighting more ninjas on the next floor. This is getting a bit scary. But luckily, Decker's in the back row. If anyone can survive ninjas, it is Decker.
There's some questions in chat about like what we can watch and what we cannot watch as we run. Since those are random seeds, like the one that you would have if you boot the game, you can watch anything. Like they can be listening to us and even chat in chat if they want. So seeing your opponent have a game over is something that you can do, and then be like, oh, I'll go slower because we have a lead. Something you can absolutely do. We did have, however, some other events that had seats that were, you know, like more the same randomizer for everyone sharing the seat, like other games would have. And obviously, for those, you cannot watch the streams. But for this one, there's nothing specific. They can even laugh with us if they get killed by Boomix. They're most likely in chat already.
I want to point out right now that Lily just took a back attack from ninjas, and Decker took probably 4,000 to 5,000 hits from them just now and still lived. And you love to see it, is all I gotta say.
And going for the flying blow to try to kill them. Interesting. Really nice. That's why we like Decker, right? He's just there thinking, as long as they don't do the guillotine attack, like
They even did the guillotine to him at the end, but it didn't proc the instant kill, which my heart stopped for a little bit when I saw that, but luckily he still survived.
I'm having a laugh with the chat here talking about some thunder luck on Oppie.
Yeah, was that another Thunder Ring? I think. Yeah, we mentioned earlier that is pretty much the best elemental ring you can get. Ice Ring, I would argue, is probably just as good because while the Ice Element or the Ice Valk, I guess, spell is a little bit weaker than Thunder, the Ice Ring also gives agility, which is super nice. We mentioned earlier also, agility is basically the best stat. So
Voots kind of have a rough encounter there with the Blue Mimics.
Blue Mimics, yeah.
Not having Decker in the party obviously hurts again here. He did try to go for the kill, so I'm pretty sure they were blocking this, blocking the path. They can do this. They can sit on doors. They can sit on the stairs. So yeah, this happens. One thing to note, however, he still keeps the Sizzle Sword because he did Providence it out earlier, so he gets to keep it. Which
Yeah,
is
that's definitely nice. Nice consolation there.
We did see a mini shield pick up straight away. It's super great for the jelly. I'm with 1 hour 5 minutes left on the clock. I'm not sure he's going to beam for the jelly, but the mini shield is one of those once again that spawn until floor 9 that gives you a good IP attack for the jelly fight.
Yeah, an hour and 5 or an hour and 4 to get to the jelly is definitely a little rough, but it is still absolutely doable. So definitely not going to count them out yet, but it is a rough road ahead.
Immediately here is fighting the Prince Lizard. I almost forgot the name. They can drop the Twist Jewel, and it's one of the best jewel to find, and it's also a point incentive to have both of your teammates hold one. The Twist Jewel is Rocket's favorite. Hi, Rocket, if you're in chat. It gives you a super big bonus on agility, and it makes it that RT is most likely going to be faster than Archfiends at the end, and that's what we really want at the end of the day.
Yeah, Twist Rule's just, it's so good. It's so good. The only item I think in the entire cave that you can put on Artie that gives him more agility is the Dragon Spear, which is great, but usually you want him to be using a deadly, so he can't use both, obviously, weapons. The Twist Jewel, however, you basically put on him no matter what.
I want to point out something that always makes me laugh. Abke picked up a boom sword. The boom sword is a thunder elemental weapon, and in this game, the Earth Genies, which we would, assess to hurt, are weak to the Thunder Elemental, and it always makes me laugh because, coming up from Pokemon, well, it's the opposite, and it's not intuitive to be like, hey, I'll use Thunder on Earth Genies. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's like that with the with water elemental stuff in this game too. You would think if you played Pokemon or something, oh, why would I use fire on a water type monster? But fire is actually what they're usually weak to in this game, so.
Just saw something interesting on Abke's side. He did get hit by the tentacle, which is something that will kill your party, as we saw. But since he inputted the run command, whenever it came up to running, even though RT was paralyzed, he could run. He could still run. Like as long as you survive until the agility that you would run, even if you're paralyzed, asleep, or whatever, you're just always running away. It's a nice little thing.
That's another thing the Twist Jewel does too, is running is based on your not average party agility, but it rolls a random number between your slowest and highest agility member. And then if that number is higher than the enemy's agility, you run first. If it's not, then they attack first and then you run. So just another reason why getting agility is not only great for going first in battle, but also for running away, which is definitely important sometimes.
It does make twist duel interesting to put on Decker at some point, just to be like, hey, my lowest number is going to be less low, depending on what you're fighting. So lots of knowledge to use at the end of the run if you know all of these.
Yeah, it's also a strat you can use on the jelly if you put agility on Decker. If you have Decker and Guy, it'll make Decker go before Guy because Guy only has a tiny bit more agility than Decker. So getting him to use like one of the percent HP damages like Decker Blade and or Myth Blade or something before Guy attacks can actually help you out quite a bit.
And it's even one of the point incentive for Artie. Like all of our characters have 3 goals, and one of them is to have anyone go before Artie. But he has so much agility that if you're not doing a special setup, it's not happening.
Yeah, the only person that basically has a chance in 2 hours, if you're not doing, very crazy shenanigans, the only person that has a chance is basically Tia if you put a bunch of agility gear on her. And I don't think people are really taking Artie and Tia together because you want to have your party split up basically to get all the point incentives, and you want a fast character on each team. So probably not going to be seeing that today.
Yes, and it's something that the first race commentators mentioned. Like we do see a lot of wipes and people like dying. The rule set is kind of rough, and it's always a random cave, so it's not anything against their skill or anything. Cave is mean. Cave always wins, and it's just like you have to deal with the fact that you're going to die a lot. Like nothing against their skill there.
Yeah, that's one of the things that makes this run usually not too marathon safe for maybe other speedrun marathons, is that you're not really guaranteed to win in this at any given time. So as we can see, all these runners are good runners, and still something like blue mimics or ninjas or assassins get in your way, and it's just sometimes you just have to take the controller and throw it at your TV and then go outside.
Yep, exactly. Like it's the that meme of the guess I'll die. It's exactly that I had.
Yeah.
A lot. We do see that the both of our team are tied. With 1 hour in, do we have a AC runner to share? Let's try this. I'd invite you to follow these runners. Some of them are in the cave a lot. So if you like this content and you'd like to support them, like you have the links to all of them. Please support them. Like they're doing a really good show. They're putting up a really good show for us. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely check all these runners out there. They're definitely great runners.
When we say that we are tied here, obviously we had a stronger like out of the gates from the orange team, but since both of them had issues with blue mimics or things like that, we have Lily that is comfortably moving forward, while Voodoo died to skeletons, I think.
Yeah, that's
not
something you want to see usually. Skeletons aren't too scary, but when you're entering the cave again at level 1 with only an hour left, he was probably kind of skipping a lot of stuff and underleveled and had to fight him or something, so that was pretty unfortunate.
Yes. I see a question on chat. If the what kind of items Miracle are? They are an item that will revive your character, fill them in HP, and fill them with mana. Which means that if you're having issues with healing spells or you're trying to pace your mana, well, that's a great way of filling it, or just to simply revive your character. So it's a really good item that you need to find and you have to pace.
Yeah, miracles are a great find. Sometimes you get on a run where you just find like 10, 15 of them or something, and it makes things a lot easier because MP is a pretty limited resource, and just filling someone's entire MP pool or reviving someone that died is very, very useful. So And they're also good for feeding capsules if you just happen to have a bunch left at the end.
Yes, like we've all done that at some point when running the cave. Like you get to the jelly and you don't have magic to cast the spell that you wanted to do. So use them like feed them after filling your magic pool. Like it's a funny thing. If we go back to the equipment that Lily has for the jelly, I do have in my notes that we have a 3x attack for Maxim. We do have a deadly rod with a lifter, but I'm not sure if the deadly rod is on. And that would be it for now. So we would have 2 characters that are ready for the jelly. We would need 2 more items.
Right here you can see Lily is manipulating the Hydoras against the wall. She's going to go and try and farm a Hedora rock from these. These enemies can be pretty strong, but as you see, they move once every time you move 3 times. So every 3 steps they move. And it's in a random direction. So you can stay away from them and then get kind of close, and then they turn into a wall and you just get a free back attack. So while they are scary without a back attack, they are very easy to back attack, and they drop one of the better items in the game for the jelly, which is the Hedora rock. It allows you to attack 3 times in one turn, which is excellent, and it gives you agility. So I imagine she's probably going to farm every single Hedora she sees.
Here's an interesting things to note here. The chance of having an item drop has it gets rolled by the order that they fell. So in this specific case, you need to kill the Hydra first, so it has a better chance of rolling the item that you want. So if you kill the other enemies first, it might mess up with the drop rates. We did see it. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was just gonna say, the first enemy you kill is if it drops something, that's the drop you get for the fight. So
the other thing I wanted to point is the Idaros are weak to heist. So instead of having RT roll, this supposedly 80% chance of one-shotting, we went with Ice Vault that was, more safe, but did cost more resources.
Yeah, having Ice Valk is just amazing when you're trying to farm Hedoras, because they basically die to 2 casts of it, even if there's multiple of them. So
yes, and we also see on Mini Lily's side the Gusto guy, usually seen as the worst capsule out there, but it's one of the easiest to get into the M form because there's multiple guys that will drop the Earth Fruit. And as you can see, this is a lot of menuing, lots of sort, trying to figure out what you try to feed, and all of the, hey, I want this, but I don't want this. Lots of knowledge there. That's what we were discussing a bit earlier.
Yeah, you wanna basically feed most of the lower value items first, because once the capsule monster evolves, they stop liking the lowest stuff, and then they evolve again and they stop liking the next tier of stuff. So knowing basically how strong or what value an item has is pretty important for feeding, and it looks like she is doing pretty well here and has a lot of stuff.
Very impressive. It's really cool to see. To answer chat, Gusto usually goes before anyone in your party or close to after RT. It means that each time you're going to run away, and we're going to run away a lot during the speed runs, you're going to have this little guy saying, hey, I want to attack first. But he's like, his attacks are really bad, so you're just losing time. And at the end, when you get to the jelly fight, all of the capsules have a certain percentage of using attacks. He does not have an outstanding percentage of doing special attacks, and they're not really strong either way. So you most likely rather have someone like Sully that doesn't attack often, but whenever he attacks, he compensates for multiple turns of others. So really, if you're doing tournaments, we see a lot of Gusto because tournament rule set ask us to do worse choices, and Gusto is always the worst choice.
Yeah, basically always. It sucks too because some of his forms are really cool, but yeah.
The one redeeming factor he has for me is the fact that he has multiple sets of enemies that can drop the Earth Fruit. So whenever we see tournament rules that ask you to M-form a capsule, I always go for him just because he has the Sand Golems that are around 420 and the upcoming monsters that the Behemoths that are near the Idora. So you're hunting for Idoras, so at the same time you can hunt for Behemoths that are rather easy to kill if you have a deadly. That's why I would go for Gusto.
We got Hob up here fighting ninjas again. They did a knife thrower and almost killed everybody, but luckily everybody survived to do some damage, so not too big of a problem, and I'm assuming he can revive people here. Yeah. So yeah, that was almost scary, but of course Decker just sitting there taking it. No problem.
Oh, another hurt jewel.
Over there, the orange team kind of pulled ahead in points here. I'm not exactly sure what they picked up. It's on the scorecard, but definitely plenty of time still left for anything to happen. Mini Lily finding Valor too. That is probably the best spell, one of the best spells in the game. It basically full heals your entire party and can revive. So that's a huge pickup.
And we do see some Transmaker strat. When we're talking about capsule monsters, this one does Transmaker and confuses enemies. Another thing that you don't really do in the campaign is use status effects like confusion, sleep, all of those things. When you run the cave, well, you want to learn who's susceptible to those effects. And the fact that Darby does them for free, it's like, eh.
Yeah, Darby's great in almost every form except the second one. The second one looks cool at least, but yeah, Transmaker comes in clutch a lot because Darby uses it a lot as well, and it's basically a guaranteed confuse on every enemy that you're fighting, unless they're immune, which sometimes they are, but most of the time it'll hit, and confusing an enemy can keep them from doing specials or multi-attacks and all that stuff, so it's very, very nice to see. And we got a Decker blade for Mini Lily, by the way, who has Decker, and she is the deepest in the cave with a lot of stuff. It's looking good. It's looking good. We're looking forward to where this goes.
If I'm not mistaken, the animation that RT used seems to be the Deadly Rod and not the Fatal Pick. So I think we have the Deadly Rod with a Curse Lifter. We have a Mist Rapier for either Salon or Maxim. And
yeah, that is Deadly Rod, yeah.
So
yeah,
that's pretty much almost ready for the jelly fight. That's exciting.
Yeah, that's a good setup to have, and there's plenty of time left too, so she doesn't have to rush down or anything and worry about time at this point.
All right, sorry, I was adding more context to the capsule thingies that we discussed a bit earlier. Level 28 on Lily's side, around 450 something, is interesting because when we're speedrunning, we're at this almost at the jelly at this point. So that's what we're talking about. Marathon pace. You go slower. You take things a bit more on the smooth side. So yeah, good level so far.
Yeah, 28's about, I would say, average. 28 to 30 is what most people reach the jelly on when they're speed running. So being 28 with, a third of the cave left is definitely looking good.
Let's try to avoid the commentary curse. We see that Abke pick up the pace and is in the cave's tiles, which means that he's past 440. So he's catching up rather quickly.
Yeah, definitely still in the running to get to the jelly on his side for sure. So.
Oh, 49. Wow, he really picked up the pace.
Yeah, he was on ninjas a while ago, I think. So definitely, yeah, looking good. Past ninjas, there's not really anything you're worried about from here until basically archfiends, maybe salamanders, I guess, but it's not too dangerous for a while for both of these runners that are deeper right now. So definitely a time to go around and kind of just pick up, the chests you're looking for and the rock farm and stuff like that.
To figure out what got us the orange team in the lead. We do have a bit more character goals that are done. And the fact that one of the members of the orange team had all 4 items, the same item equipped on all 4 characters. Battling the same 4 enemies. That's quite the goal here.
Yeah, it's hard to think what you can do that with other than like maybe long knives and very, very few other items. Because most people can't equip the same items. But long knife, lizard blow, maybe some rocks and stuff. But other than that, yeah.
Yeah, I was suggesting the guitar, like the Shure Custom 11 something. That's
Can
one.
everyone use that?
I'm pretty sure most of them can use them.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I never equipped that, so I'm not sure who can use it.
Usually when you do strongest and this thing pops up, you're doing pretty bad.
Yeah, you're not looking good for sure.
We do see a cold eye or warm eye. I don't know, I always mess up their name. But the eye-looking thingy on the lady screen. This means that we're around floor 62 to 65. I feel like this is one of the bigger gauntlet of enemies before the end game. Lots of enemies that can kill you in these floors, like the white dragons, the gold gorems, the highs, like all
Yeah.
dangerous enemies.
One of the things to basically do on these floors is you don't want to rush because none of the monsters have patterns that you can't avoid really for the most part. So if you take your time, your movement, you can get by most of these. That salamander right there, not really treating her
Nope.
very nicely. Those are pretty dangerous enemies, so she's going to just try and maneuver them all the way to the other side of the room and then go back down the stairs. But yeah, the enemies here are rough, but you can avoid them in most cases. So definitely, go slow here.
Salamanders are not enemies that usually end your race, but they tend to sap resources, and Lily is still only using Rally as a healing spell, so that costs a lot of magic.
She just found a dragon spear, which we mentioned earlier is the highest agility item in the game, but she has a deadly on Artie, which means he can't use it. Does she have?
She has Salon.
Salon. Okay, so yeah, so she could put that on Sealand there, and this is actually a huge pickup.
Yes.
She's normally very slow until later levels, which you don't usually see, but the dragon spear is so insane with the agility that is a very, very nice pickup.
It makes farming IP for Salon against copper dragons a thing. And that's important.
Yeah, that's a hard thing to do.
Oh, for the warm eyes are a kind of a problem because they move 2 tiles in horizontal for the one movement that you have. So sometimes they just like launch at you without you seeing them, and they tend to have an agility that's similar to you, but they attack twice for each round. So they really stack up when they attack you.
Yeah, and this is one of the things that I was talking about on these floors is they move really fast, but if you take your time, they won't kind of rush at you like that. And that's one of the things you want to avoid because they do a whole lot of things that are bad. They attack twice each, they do decent damage, they're decently fast, and they also can drain your mana, which you don't want to happen to you if you can avoid it. So
usually you take your time, you can avoid them. It's just like in the specific hallway that we have here, if there's one at the end, you're just running in straight into it, and you have to.
Yeah. Not usually a problem, but yeah, sometimes you can't help it.
And not only you have to learn the movement of each of the individual like sprites, but you have to learn how to combo them. Like here, the Sphinx tries to like kind of slowly move toward you, like creeping in always, while the white dragon there is just trying to move randomly one tile. So as you try to sync one, you try to avoid the other one. Like that's where the biggest challenge of the cave comes up.
Ooh, that's not enough. You don't really want to see dragons. These are white dragons, I think, right? Yeah. Oh, it's just one. Luckily. Dragons in hallways can be kind of a pain because they take forever to move and they're so big that they kind of don't really leave the hallway. So you don't really want to see them. But luckily, she got the back attack immediately, and it was just one. So not a roadblock at all, really.
Trying to see if getting the jelly, or actually if I have a fight with jelly, can close up the gap here in points. But I see 4 points, so that wouldn't be enough at this time. We will need other things to be done to close the gap in points, because we have a 5-point difference and 40 minutes left to go.
Over on Hobbs' screen, you can see the Disco Wolf, which is the only really kind of useless form of Darby. So he's feeding right past that. The next form that I'm assuming we're about to see, because I think he probably has enough stuff, has a instant kill move that is very, very useful. Yeah, Squealer's pointing out that I said the Disco Wolf is kind of useless. He does have the use of poisoning an enemy, and if that poison kills an enemy, then you soft lock the game. So I guess there's a use for that.
I think it was last Jelly Jam where we had to poison an enemy. So sometimes he does come up in the scoring system. So the only source of poison that a player can use, like it can apply to enemies.
Yeah.
We do see Rally on Voodoo's screen. A costly 10 MP for 100 HP heal, but at least it revives.
Got some chariots on the stair here for Hob, but he equips a crystal rod on ceiling, which should probably do a lot of damage.
From the back, it wasn't enough. So there's undead enemies that are immune to deadly, what we call the deadly weapons. Is the deadly rod, fatal pick, deadly sword. Like undead enemies are usually immune to those, so you have to have a backup plan. And most of the time, those enemies are weak to Oli, so that's why Fry weapons are. Fry sword was really good. Zap is super good. Fry is another option. So you need to learn those also, like what does Oli damage to those enemies.
Yeah, an interesting interaction that you don't get to see in the vanilla game because the rings and rocks stop spawning after 9. But if you have an undead ring equipped and a deadly rod equipped, it overwrites the damage type of the deadly to become holy, and you can actually use it to instant kill undead, which is pretty interesting. But you can't really see that outside of like a ROM hack or a patch. But there is a interesting patch, the Unchained patch, that adds all those items back into the cave that were supposed to be there, and you can see that there, which is pretty fun.
Earlier we were speaking about weird names for monsters. Here we see a leech, like like the little insect thingy that would drink blood, fighting on Lily's side. We don't like those sprites. We don't like to see like those enemies. Hopefully, like it was a bad accident and we move away quickly from that.
Yeah, leeches, they're super fast and they do a lot of damage, so you definitely don't want to fight those if you don't have to. The one silver lining is that they don't have a lot of HP, so as you see here, this holy energy will take care of it pretty quickly.
Oh, I say that it was an happy mistake, but no. She actually like wanted to use the only weapon.
Yeah.
Point there. Really clever out of Lily here.
Yeah, it was a good move.
One step ahead of commentary here. We're going to see a lot more of those red dragon sprites. They tend to be huge roadblocks that move once for every 3 times that Maxim moves. But they tend to do like whatever the heck they want. So we're trying to move fast, they just like move up, down. And you never want to be surprise attacked by them. Like it's an easy way of getting a game over screen is to have them side attack you, have their 50% chance of attacking before you do. So, yeah.
Yeah, even in the 100% category where you kill every monster and open every chest, there's gold dragons later. You can be level 80 something fighting them, and they can still kill your party because they are so strong. So getting guaranteed back attacks is pretty much crucial to the like basically end game portion of the cave that Lily is approaching. She has about basically Archfiends is kind of the start of the end game, which is any second now.
Okay, the after floor 60 and having Salon killing an enemy gives 3 points. That's why the cap like closed really quickly here from 18 to 24. Like that's the 3 points, and I'm trying to find the other 3 points. Where did they come from?
There's also another interesting little bit of tech that Lily just used that most runners use, and it's kind of just instinctive at this point, but it's called R slashing, where the enemies move when you move, and they don't move when you slash your sword, or they do move when you slash your sword, but they don't move if they are based on a direction that you move. But if you hold R and then a direction and slash, you kind of trick the game into thinking that you moved a direction, and you can use it to manipulate enemies around, like she's doing right here, or Voodoo's is doing right here, I should say. And it's probably one of the most useful bits of tech. You will use it the entire cave, pretty much. It's a nice little thing to see everybody doing.
It's always a bad thing seeing the green guy on the Lily screen. They tend to go faster than RT, and as we can see, a single voltage bolt can wipe a lot of enemies, a lot of our party. And every time a character dies, they lose their HP. That's the third bar that we didn't explain at all during this whole thing. They lose all of that thing, which means that you have to farm it again. So it's really like we don't like those green guys.
Yeah, the IP points, the little red or orange bar at the bottom, that's basically based on damage you take. Fills it up. It stands for like Ikari points or something, which is basically like rage points or something. But just think of it as item points, and they allow you to use the special abilities on items. So we were talking earlier about like percent HP damage or Hedora Rock, all these things you want to use on the jelly. They're all IP abilities, and yeah, dying and losing IP is not something you want to do, but pretty much everybody is going to want to max their IP on everyone near the end, which is something you usually do on Copper Dragons because they're pretty much the least threatening enemy at the end of the game. So
I'm not liking this room here. Do we know exactly which floor Lily is on? Like,
I do not, but I think yeah, she's just gonna take her chances with the genie. Archfiends are horrible enemies that follow you as soon as you activate them by getting close. They follow you pretty much everywhere. You have to get like multiple rooms away for them to stop moving, and you usually don't do that. So yeah, they are super fast, they're super tanky, they do a lot of damage, and they act twice each per round. So they're not fun. So she saw that it was either that or genies and just ran straight into the genies.
question in chat was for the why Lily isn't opening any chests. At this time, we know that she has a Dicker Blade and a Uncursed Deadly Rod, and a three-time attack for Maxim. I think she either has a Hydra Rock or a Cancer Rock, which means that her setup for the jelly, like it's mighty fine. Like opening chests at this time doesn't have a lot of chances of improving her chances at the jelly more than just wasting time.
Yeah, unless she gets low on MP or something, it doesn't seem like she really needs anything else. Yeah, I know I think she just found a snow sword, or maybe that was someone else.
It was her.
Okay, yeah, so that's another thing you can put on. So yeah, if she has a Cancer or Hedora Rock, she is pretty much set for the jelly, and barring any bad RNG, should have a kill.
I was asking for the floors because, like we were mentioning, like we're discovering a lot of things, even lately. It turns out that the Archfiend sprite is shared with other enemies. I don't know, I forgot the name. Like the
Ice Rogue.
Yeah, the Ice Rogue. And on some floors, it's only Ice Rogues, and there's no chances of getting Archfiends, and it's something that we figured out not long ago, and that's why it's important to know which floor you are at whenever you encounter those.
The Archfiend can spawn with the Ice Rogue, but since it's an Ice Rogue floor, it's guaranteed at least one Ice Rogue, and you will take that every day before you take 2 Archfiends, so it's definitely nice to know when you're on the floors where only one can spawn in a battle.
Is this a setup to kill Ginnies without the Deadly here? Because I see Ice Fog. Oh no, never mind. There's the Deadly. Because that's another point incentive, is to kill Ginnies without Deadly incident. But that wasn't the play here.
Yeah.
I feel like she's still low level to do that comfortably. Like
yeah, they're scary for sure. I've seen her take a couple of the specials, and it almost kills everybody in her party. So 2 specials is not something she's probably willing to chance, especially since at the moment the blue team is in the lead, and she has a jelly set up. So she's probably not trying to risk anything that she doesn't need to at this point.
Speaking of risk, on Apkinami's side, we have gold golems surrounding it. Like, that's not a place where you want to be. That's why Okay, never mind. He stepped on the stairs and he got away from there. But
gold golems are not fun.
Yeah, 3 gold golems will ruin some races. And then we run into 2 leeches, which is not much better, but yeah, let's see that.
So as long as they don't kill Artie here, he should be fine because he's casting Zap, which will one-shot one of them.
Level 24 is kind of low. Oh, wow. Outspeed them and just...
Wow, that's... Oh, it was a back attack.
Okay,
yeah, I was about to say, what a...
Because those teleporters...
Agility.
Oh, nice. We have a hold armor for Lily, which means another point for Decker, because we have equipped a old item. So that's a point. Going back to the leeches, they're teleporters that will teleport whenever you're far away from them. So sometimes you will just like walk away and be like, hey, everything's fine, and then they teleport right in front of you, because they only teleport when they're far. When they're near you, they will move once every 2 of your move. So yeah, if you're rushing in on those floors, you might get backed attack or just bump into them. So really, floor 69, I think, to 71 are usually floors exactly like what happened to Apke. Like, he was moving fast and
he just did it. It just did it again.
They're really, 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 really.
Yeah, they are scary. Another thing too is when they land on top of you like that, if you don't move 2 directions, like say he moves to the left twice, it has a chance to move like that directly into a back attack. This is not what we want to see here.
We don't want to see ice fogs. And 1 character is dead. No, don't put Decker in the front.
Ooh, that's an interesting choice there.
Yeah. And I think it costs him. Like that's unfortunate. Like we were speaking of this, but this happens a lot, and it's there's nothing you can do besides just going slowly. And since we're speedrunning, well, we don't try to go slow, right? So yeah, it's a very tough death there.
So the key to that when they teleport on top of you is since they're going to move left, right, up or down after you move twice, you need to move one direction and then another direction. So like left and then down or left and then up. And then you can still fight them, but they can't back attack you. And that's kind of the way you have to play those there. I don't think that putting Decker in the... I don't know really why he put Decker in the front row there. But I honestly don't think it would have mattered because, yeah, he died and the Leech still had an extra attack left after that. So it was just unfortunate all around.
Yeah. It's unfortunate because Apke like took a wipe early on and was just like beaming through the cave and like catching up to Mini Lily. So really, yeah, tough death there, to be honest. Like it's going to be like they're currently tied, both teams, but that means that Apke is revisiting content that he already seen, so less chances of scoring.
Yeah, I'm not sure what points they have early on that they can still acquire, but it's going to come down to if there's any of those left, trying to get them now.
There's nothing in the blue side of the scoring. Reviving someone with Guy, maybe. No, he has Decker on his team, so not happening. I don't think there's a lot of things that he can do. Like maybe having Alexis kill enemies.
Someone's asking if the jelly's worth a lot of points. It is worth a fairly large chunk of points. It has a couple incentives for when you're fighting it. But the way that this is structured, because most runs don't usually get to the jelly and beat it, it's structured to where there's a bunch of stuff you can do throughout the cave and still win without even reaching the jelly. But reaching the jelly is definitely something you don't want to just forego it, because it is a decent chunk of points if you can make it there. So assuming nothing happens to Mini Lily, she has quite a few points coming up still and plenty of time to get there.
Oh, actually, like on the side of Apke, since he doesn't have Alexis, I think he scored all of his possible points already. So there, I think unless he just like uses the last 20 minutes to get to Prince Lizard, I don't think he can score any more points, sadly. Maybe getting a matching fruit, depending on what hop he has at this time, or getting rocks maybe. I think that's what they're checking now, checking how many rocks they have.
Yeah, there's definitely early fruits you can get in the 10s of floors. You can kill the wood gorems and get...
That's not a cool room there for Lily.
No, it's not. This is actually awful.
Yeah, that's to engage. Oh, okay, that might be very wise there.
Yeah, that's not something we want to see. Level 31 too. She was doing very, very good on levels, but she has kind of not gained too much experience in the last few fours.
Yeah, she was avoiding Gorgons when I think I would have fought a couple of them just to keep the experience coming up and maybe get a Gorgon rock, because it's always good. But yeah, quite surprised on the Gorgon Gorgon encounters that she missed out. But it's really wise, the move that she did there, Hike. It was easy for us to be like, hey, just move up and get 2 encounters and pray. But moving down like this, like she's going to slowly take all of these genies out, and it's going to be more safe like that.
Yeah, it's a nice little chunk of XP she's getting here, and also she's basically just doing great movement to kind of manipulate the back attack on them. And then I'm assuming she's just going to try to get around the Archfiend by dragging it around the bottom of the room here. And hopefully, if she can pull that off, there won't be anything else next to the stairs.
while it's not as important as fighting genies, I do want to point out that Team Orange keeps getting Elemental Ring. Like I think Abke in this specific run has a Water and a Fire Ring. Like I don't know what's up with that. Like a Thunder Ring on Hoppy, all of the Elemental Rings. Something's up there. Like we rarely see those. Like you could do like any percents for a full evening, doing like 10 rounds, and be like, I haven't seen any Elemental Ring, and today we've seen like a ton of those.
Lily just dragging the Archfiend all the way up to the top and getting it kind of stuck in the hallway for a second, and then being able to check these chests and get the stairs for free. That was really nice. She's on 87 here too, which is the last floor that the Archfiends can spawn on. So if she makes it to the stairs here, she's for the most part in the clear to make it to the jelly. There's still some chances that you get dragons in hallways and treasure rooms and stuff, but this is the last scary floor where you can kind of just get wiped to Archfiends being in your way.
Absolutely. That's what I like to call the Lufia to victory road, where it's just like it's on you, whatever is going to happen most of the time. Like you have dragons that might do a Dragon Con, or you might be going too fast to receive the green guys on you, but otherwise it's in the clear. Like it's patience, and you'll be able to go for it.
Yeah, and with 20 minutes left, it's plenty of time to make it the last like basically 10, 12 floors. So the only thing I don't think she has full IP. I think that's basically the last thing she's going to be looking for. As she gets a little closer, she's probably going to manipulate dragons into back attacks and try and get a single copper to kind of beat up her characters and fill her IP.
We're going to see some ninjas. Well, hopefully we won't be seeing ninjas on Hoppy screen, but it's getting to floor 40. I think this is maybe there's some points to be gotten there, because otherwise Team Blue is going to go away with the points here, with 26 and a small lead, and the fact that most likely Lily is getting to the jelly.
Also, really quick here before I forget, I want to give a huge shout out to RPG Limit Break for letting us do this event on their channel every year. It's a huge honor to be able to do it here, and we really love the support from them. So,
Oh,
yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, thank you to RPG Limit Break here. And thank you to you. I mean, it's just super fun to come do commentary with you.
Yeah, it's been fun. I definitely appreciate it.
Like, do we have a thingy for? I did link the runners in chat, but I'm not sure if I have a one for you, because I know you do stream some cave from time to time. So
Yeah, maybe once a year at this point. Don't get me wrong. I think about running this game again about once an hour every day for the last 10 years now. So I want to, and then I just am too lazy and don't. But yeah, I do appreciate it anyway.
to answer chat, well, Voodoo has had it pretty rough with the blue mimics, and since then has been trying to go very quickly to get back into the pacing, and has died a lot because, well, when you go fast, well, even red snakes like that will eat your face.
Yes, not getting cores snakes actually are super scary. So I'm assuming that maybe, I don't know if you got cores or not, but those snakes are not fun if you are not leveled.
Alright. I'm trying to look at the points here to see if Team Orange has any. Well, I should say their name. Here could be your had. That's the name of the team here. If they have any chances of getting back into this, maybe they could try to score with the guy reviving someone if he has an iron plate. That could be an easy 2 points.
Yeah, I definitely don't want to call it early or anything, but Team Mini Doofs here is in a very, very good spot to clinch this win out. I didn't see if Lily farmed IP yet, but that's probably, if she didn't, that's probably what she's about to do right now.
And with level 32 on Salon, it's not something super comfortable to do. And let's not forget that she doesn't have access to Champion or the Heal All spell, so it's really a bad process to
Yeah,
have to exit the fight, use Rally. It costs a lot of resources to do, so it's going to be tough.
there is the Dragon Spear though, so there's always the speed trick where if she has Fake, she can back attack one of the dragons and cast Fake and get her faster. So I don't know if she has Fake or not, but that's basically the Tia strat, because Tia is so squishy. You need her to defend, which makes you take a lot less damage, and that's kind of the strat we're probably going to be going for here if we can. Oh, never mind. Apparently, IP for all of Lily's characters is at 100%.
So
there
it's
are
not
the stairs, and this is the final floor, and we're at the jelly. So just to recap, in case you came in late or are unfamiliar with the jelly fight, Lily will have 3 turns to deal 9,980 damage, which is a tall task, but she has a lot of good stuff to use here, which is she has a pretty good chance, unless she gets just absolutely horrible rolls on her fractionals. It's looking good. So this is the point where we get out our calculators and you try and follow along, see how much damage she deals, see if she comes up short, how much she does, if she kills it, how much she kills it, overkills it by. It's time.
That's one of the weird things that this game does. Is like we're doing percentage, but we had to this. Like we had a percentage to it, and it makes calculating all of those things even more wonky.
Yeah, so you get like up to a 21 or 22% boost about from the front row, and that applies to your fractional or percent HP damage. So Deca Blade does half of an enemy's current health, but then you get that little boost added on from the front row. So it's not there's random rolls basically in the calculation. The percent HP isn't always just exactly that percentage.
There's a lot of wondering about Gusto, like we mentioned a bit earlier. It's not very good, so hopefully we want to see special attack, anything.
Oh
Like,
my
just
gosh, so
try
this
to-
is like one route, like one
Yeah,
shot.
I will say that her setup that she has right now is something I would totally be comfortable running with, like Sully 1, who literally doesn't do damage to the jelly, basically. So I think any damage from Gusto is kind of just extra at this point. So it's definitely, yeah, looking good.
All right, let's make sure that everyone has MP. Yes, like I said, it's something very silly that you do once every now and then. You don't want to do this on stream. And then pick up your the calculator. We're getting into this. Oh, we do hear voodoo at the back here. It's going to be even more special. Like if they get the kill, like Voods is most likely going to be super happy. It's going to be fun.
Oh, the fake ring. Oh wait, she already has IP. I'm losing it.
Yep.
More the jelly, not farming IP.
Okay, so sadly we didn't have the rock, so it's going to be a crystal wand for Salon instead of a snow sword or something better. It's still fine.
Okay.
It's still fine.
Yeah, it's still good. It's one of the probably worst 3 times damage weapons, but it is still totally fine, especially with this setup. So I didn't see if she had trick. Trick would be pretty
I haven't seen it either, so I doubt. And when we say three times attack, it's just like the physical attack deals 3 times the damage. Simply as that for the IP. So it's
Yeah.
like 3 attack commands in the single turn.
Yeah, it doesn't look like we have Trick, which is a little unfortunate. Trick is really nice to have, especially when you're using a 3x like the Crystal Wand. You kind of want to add as much damage as you can. But
Dragon here. Anyway, so 108.
it's about a medium devastation there. Decker Blade roll right here. Let's hope for a huge one.
Yep, that's the drum roll.
And 4437. I think that's...
We're at 6,472 damage.
Yeah, that's not a great fatal blow there, but still plenty of damage to come through still.
Hey, Iron Fist.
Another devastation from the front row. 450. That's looking pretty good. Crit from Decker here would be nice.
I messed up some of my damage, but I think we're at 8,080 something.
If we're that high, this is looking pretty good. 8,093 I see though. That's cutting it a little close here.
See, like, that's why Gusto sucks. Like, 100.
Yeah, Gusto.
5 damage is like, wow.
Okay, Holy Energy, nice. Aqua attack.
Oh, that should be good. That should be good.
The crit
There
from
you
the back row from
go.
Decker, let's go.
GG's.
Yeah, the crit might have not even been needed, but you love to see it. GG's to Lily right there. That was excellent. Excellent showing. GG's to everybody also. This was an excellent run to watch. It was close for almost the entire time.
Oh yeah, like there's still only 5 points or 4 points difference, and we have a kill on the board. Like it's very tight. It's just like sadly the fact that they wiped, like that didn't allow them to get in more content and new content. But really happy to see a jelly kill. Like it seems like it was one of the first of the tournament, so we kind of end up on a blast, like best possible case.
Yeah. Yeah, that was definitely a great showing right there from Lily. Also showing off the Halloween sprites, so just swagging it through all the way.
Indeed. And I'm also happy because it's a kill with Sullen, and it usually like people say that we don't get kills with Sullen. So
oh yeah, I think marathon wise, her kill rate's pretty low, so that's gonna bump it up right there.
Yep, it's the very first few. I think I got a kill or two on the Jelly Fiddle Blowout earlier last year, but that's the very first few kills with Sullen on stream like that. It's cool.
All right, here's still 7 minutes left, so I guess I think we kind of determined that Hob doesn't really have many points he can still get, but Hoppy might. So kind of all eyes on him here to see if he can get any of these like middle floor kind of points going on. I think he's looking for a revive right now.
Yep, like that's one of the 2 points that they could get. Lexus is on Abke, right? No, he has Lexus, and there's no gold done for Lexus, so anything that could be feeding 3 enemies with a single melee attack would work. Having 4 spells, so opening chests could do points, or they can even try to steal it if he gets past 450 and apply a status effect, because that's 3 points. Oh, it would put them at 29, so there's a couple of ways to do points. It's just like 5 minutes is very short.
Yeah.
And everyone's dead. So most likely not happening here.
Oh yeah, I didn't even notice that. the solo guy run.
So unless something really, really wrongs happen, it should be going the blue team's way. But I really want to point out that the point system to have individual character do specific things is really interesting. It's super fun to look at all of the possibilities that Eli come up with. I'm really happy, and I feel like this is a really strong point sets that we should like try to revisit down the line for further events.
Yeah, one of the things I really like about this tournament too is that since it's teams and there's exactly 6 characters that you can choose from, having like point incentives basically based on different characters makes it so each team usually brings all of the characters. So we get to see a showing kind of from every single character and what they can do in the cave, which is interesting. You don't see that in most runs. You don't usually see it in like Fatal Blowout and stuff. So
Yeah, it's really fun to see like the strategies that you could have. You could try to split the teams a bit like we would do when we run ACAC, which is all characters you have to do 2 runs, where you could split your character either to get kills on both screens, or you could be like, okay, I'll take all of the bad characters and try to do goals while you go for the jelly kill.
yeah. There's a
Just
lot of strategy to it for sure.
meaningful choices there to be done, and it's really like a high five to Eli there for the scoring here.
Yeah, it's really a really good point incentives. I like them a lot.
And that's the worst thing here for Hoppy, because he did find Rally in the chest, but since Guy cannot cast any spell, like he cannot use it to raise a character and use it.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, it's like the cave's kind of spitting on you one last time here. GG, Hoppy. It was really, really fun to watch you there.
I don't know the command for that. But someone do the runner's command, whatever it is that links everybody's stream.
AC runner.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely, give everyone here a follow or something. Check them out. They're all great runners, and it was a pleasure to watch this race.
It was very fun to discuss with you, chat about it, have the chat with us, and see everything. Like I just said, like the scoring system is super cool, and more love to the cave is always good love, right?
Yeah, I had fun commentating with you too. It was a blast.
It's kind of a weird spot, however, like to have 2 minutes 30 and then be like, yeah, well, the scoring can't really change. But
Yeah. Try to think of something interesting to say for the next 2 minutes, but
like the purple scorpions that we see on Hapkinami's screen, it's one of the great fight that you could have to score the points with Lexus. If you had the ability to use the wrenches and the holly is personal item, like that would be an easy point to do there against those scorpions because they're easy to side attack. Good experience for them. So if you're starting out with the cave, they're good enemies to fight.
yeah, I think also I'm gonna give one more plug to the AC Discord. I can't do anything. I can't do any commands. Someone please help me.
AC Discord.
But yeah, like I said earlier, it's a great community. You don't have to just want to run Ancient Cave. There are tons of people there that just enjoy Lufia in general, the series. And yeah, it's a, like I said, great community. If you want to check it out, I highly recommend it.
And check out the category on Twitch. There's Mini Lily that we just see here that runs a lot. There's other runners that runs it. So there's, for a retro game like this, there's a lot of runners still doing it, and show them some love. It's super cool to have a community that is alive like this and has at least 2 yearly tournament. So it's really, really cool, and it's worth your time if you want to invest it. as the clock time goes out, like we can see on Hapke screen. When you start the ancient cave, you're stuck in it for a long time.
Yeah, that's the signature Hob ending to a tournament. I'm pretty sure he does that every time.
Yep.
It is a true statement, and yeah, the ancient cave is addicting.
As time begins to draw to a close, it looks like our event finalization for scoring and everything is pretty much officially set. There was a little bit of a faulty start on my timer, so I ended up giving all the runners an extra 2 minutes because, oh no, 2 minutes, whatever will we do? And with that said, time is up, so I think it's safe to say that we can go ahead and loop everybody back into here and see if we can enjoy celebrating victory for all of the accomplishments that are happening today. Just won't like drag everybody in. And
say-
there we go, guys. Congratulations. Time is a tiny bit over, but officially done.
Stop the count. There's still time for me, right? There's still time.
Hoppy, there, buddy.
No.
So, what's past floor 33?
I mean, to be fair, Hoppy deserves some honor for actually getting the 4 same items, killing 4 same enemy goal. So he deserves some honor today already.
Why didn't I put Lexus in the front row? Why did I enter those blue twisters? Why?
We all made dumb decisions today, Hoppy.
We woke up and we played the game.
I don't
Well-
even want to. I don't even want to talk about my stuff. I just don't. Just ban me from the game.
Yeah,
The
we
stuff
should be able
I
to add
pulled
the
off
element
today
plus now.
is.
There was a lot of chaos in the run. Today was a mean day. Last week, Assassins shut everybody down. This week, Blue Mimics were just extremely mean. But there's still a lot to be proud of. I mean, Mini got the event's first Jelly kill, which is a pretty darn big deal. So
That shows there are competent people in the AC Discord community. We can kill the jelly.
yes,
We
even
have
with
the technology.
we have the technology, even with sandbags and challenges like what the Jelly Jam puts on, we're still able to see those great accomplishments happen. And even going through, you guys give us so much to talk about. There was a lot that was learned. The purpose of Jelly Jam is to put on a fun community event for multiple players to come in with some friends, learn what they can about the ancient cave, and have a good time with each other. Maybe coming out, discovering an extra trick or two, and feeling more confident along the way. I feel like the community really put that show on. There's a lot of useful tech, a lot of really interesting strategy discussed, and even today, as we continue to discover and apply new tech to the cave, we got to see a lot of wonderful things done and taught and experienced. So thank you all for putting on what I would say was a very good show. Congratulations again to the winners of this round.
I'm just happy to be able to show off one of the most famous glitches in the AC. It's their glitch.
I don't think we've seen that in an event in a long time. It was really good. I really hoped you were going to be able to make it through, and then those skulls did not agree.
By the way, also, not that it matters, but actually, sorry that I'm very late with that question, Ellie, but I actually wanted to ask one more thing. RD 3-pointer, bow or rune rapier, does launcher count?
Launcher is a bow.
Good. Because we had that discussion actually earlier if it would count, but I also said, like, it's the same sprite, it's the same design, it is a bow.
It's a bow that hits everybody. I mean, technically you could say, oh, it's a lawn chair. Oh, we're sitting on it. But no, it's
yeah,
not. It's a bow.
it doesn't have bow in the name, so it's not a bow.
Yeah.
Alright, good
Fair
to know.
enough.
I'm just sad that I almost had Lexus 2-pointer achievement twice.
Well, there were
One
a lot of close
one thing
ones.
left to say. One thing Hoppy and I have to say though, dear ancient cave runners, Hoppy and I are deeply sorry that we took all the elemental rings for the next 2 weeks from everyone.
So many Thunder Rings. I think
Speak
you
for
guys got
yourself,
almost every
Okanam. I'm
element.
not sorry. I'm not sorry. All the rings are mine. My precious ring. My precious ring.
With your precious rings, Mini Lily's precious Jellykill, and a lot of the other accomplishments, I'm going to bring this event to a close this year. We had a little bit lower showing than we were
Precious.
anticipating originally. Unfortunately, we didn't get quite as many signups due to scheduling and logistics. It just doesn't always happen that way. But for what we were able to put on, you guys did great. Thank you, RPG Limit Break, for allowing us to participate on your channel again. And thank you for the commentary crew that was present for all of the events. And the scorekeepers in particular for this event, which made tracking that much easier for the runners to do what they needed to do, which was give us a good showing. Next year, I do plan on putting on another Jelly Jam, and I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it yet, but the event does seem to be growing in awareness and infamy. I hope to continue that trend going forward. I hope you guys will sign up, and I hope maybe someone who watched that maybe felt a little bit daunted feels as though they might be able to find a friend or a teammate and join with, and just come in and have a good time. We had a first-time event participant, Professor Buff Swoley, win this year, so if that doesn't go to show that you don't necessarily have to come in as a veteran or a champion, do your best and have a great victory, then I don't know what is. But thank you again, everybody. Thank you, RPGLB and chat, for being engaging and giving us a lot to enjoy discussing during the event. And keep an eye on the Ancient Cave community, because over the next couple of months we're going to be unveiling a new community event, which I don't know the full scoop on, but if it's something that's going to be a nice recurring series, then I mean, hey, any activity to promote growth in the greatest roguelike ever made is worth paying attention to, in my book. Hop in the AC Discord if you haven't already, just to follow it, keep up with it, and let this be a wonderful close to your wonderful day.